Alright, so hello. This is the end of year revision for the final. I don't know why I'm recording this video, but either ways, I'm gonna explain a lot of concepts. So in this video, we're gonna discuss Python lists, 1D and 2D lists, and Python functions, either user-defined functions or built-in functions. So yes, let's get started. First up, we're gonna open Visual Studio Code. And yeah, let's start with 1D lists. So, a 1D list is a variable that stores multiple items at once. For example, x equals 1, 2, and 3. As you can notice, this list has 3 items inside of it. And from these 3 items, we have all of them different types of data. Because right here, we got a string, we got an integer, and we got a float, which is normal to store inside the list. So, for example, let's get to printing it. Print x. So if we try to print it, it's gonna print the entire thing. Let's say we want to access the one in the middle, which is 2. We could use 2 ways to print it. Either x1 or print x minus 2. As you can see, we printed it since like negative elements in Python, like 3 is -1, 2 is -2, 1 is -3. Yeah, it's kind of complex, but not complex at the same time. In this example, I kind of made it complex for no reason. So next up, modifying and sorting lists. Now for this example, we're gonna remove this list. X equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops, anyways. So for example, let's say we want to find out the maximum value inside of this list. So we're gonna use print max and x. It should print 5 since it's the maximum value. And indeed, as you can see, 5. What if we want to find the minimum value? We can also use the min function. Executing it will give us 1, which is indeed the lowest value inside this list. Alright, what if we want to find the sum of all of the items in the list? Sum x, which will give us 15, which indeed is the answer, obviously. How about let's add an item to the list. So x.append 6. That's gonna add an element in the 6th position. I mean, like, it's gonna be on the 5th index and its value is gonna be 6. I don't know what's up with me today. Either ways. What about we want to insert one in the 3rd position? I mean the 3rd index. Sorry again. X dot insert 3 and the element itself. Let's call it these nuts, cause why not? Now let's say we don't want an element. So for example, we're gonna use list.remove the element, which for example we don't want the value of 1. Finally, we're gonna use list dot reverse. Oh my god, I'm stupid sometimes. Either ways, x dot reverse. Then we're gonna print x. As you can see, this is the new list with all the modifications. 654, these nuts 32. Now let's say we do not want 6. I mean, we do not want 2 in the list. We could use x.pop to remove the last element of the list. So it's now 6543. I mean 654, these nuts 3. Anyways, you should memorize all of these methods since, I don't know, they might ask you for it in the exam or what does it do, etc. For practice, you should check out Google Classroom. Next up, 2D lists. So x equals, we usually define it like a normal list. So for example, name, wait, not, no, we have to open another inner bracket. Name, all done. We should actually define it on multiple lines for organization. Yeah, perfect. Name, age, and city. Next line. So for example, some random person called Alice. Age, let's say, 30. And city, let's say New York. Another person, let's say Bob. Oh my, forgot the quotations. Sorry again. I'm not focusing because I'm looking at my notes to know what to exactly explain. Yeah, even teachers need notes to explain either ways. Let's say 25 in city Los Angeles. I don't know how to spell it correctly, but whatever. As you can see, you can notice a pattern. This list is looks like an Excel spreadsheet in the best way you can say it. So let's say print X. Now this is gonna spit out the whole thing. Hold on. Yeah, this is why you should never line 2 module. Name, age, city. Oh my god, I'm stupid, I forgot the commas. Either ways, it should not work. Yeah, as you can see, it spat out the entire thing. Let's say we want to access a singular row. So let's say we want to access the row in the middle. So let's say x1. Alice 30 New York. Let's say we want to access the middle element of that row. So let's say also 1. Now the indexes here work just like the other indexes in one-dimensional lists. Keep that in mind. 2D lists are basically 1D lists inside one another. So yeah, as you can see, it printed 30. Now let's say we want to add a new row. We're gonna remove this and we're gonna define a new row as a list. Y equals David 28 varsity. Don't mind me if I do it. And we're gonna use the append. So x dot append y. Doing that will add the new row, as you can see. Now we know how to access the entire list, access individual rows, and access individual elements in the row. And we know how to add rows. But adding a column is a bit more complex. So yeah, we're gonna create a list. So to remind you, if you forgot how lists work, we're gonna start by defining a list. We're gonna use, oh my god, I mean loops, oh my god, when someone isn't focusing, either ways. So we're gonna define a loop, so for I in X and for J and I append J dot append no J dot append, I don't know, think so. Adding a new, never mind, we do not need an inner list for this. I mean a nested loop for this. Not focusing today. Either ways, I dot append, and yeah, let's give it the value of, do I know? Yeah, this should add a new column to every single row with the value of, do I know, do I know, do I know? Running it, as you can see, do I know, do I know, do I know, do I? Either ways, let's say we do not want the age column. So to remove it, we're gonna basically, for I in X, then I dot pop, then the column. Now, which column do we want to get rid of? It's the age column. So we're supposed to add one in here, since that's the index of the column. Running it, we do not have ages anymore. Too bad, so sad, womp womp. Either ways. Let's say we want to loop through a list to print every single element on a new line. We're gonna have to use nested loops here. So for I in X and for J in I, print J, exactly just like this. And yeah, see, it's easy to print all of them on new lines. Now for practice of that, check on Google Classroom. Of course, this video is not an alternative way to study. It's rather just a way to make sure you know the concept. Next up, Python functions. We're going to start with user-defined functions. So what is a function? A function is a block of code that performs a specific task. It's great, it can be reusable, and optimizes your program, especially if you want to pass on it values. A lot of programmers use functions since they like split down your program and make it more efficient. Now we're gonna start with user-defined functions. So the syntax is def, which stands for define. We're gonna use the function name, so let's call it greet. And we're gonna add this and the column. I was gonna say semicolon, either ways. So yeah, define greet, and let's say print hello. Now if we run it, there would be no output. Why? We never call the function. So to call it, we use greet, just like this. And as you can see, hello. Now what if we want to pass values onto the function? So for example, greet, and let's say, and of course we add name in here as the parameter. Yeah, we add name as the parameter, and we here add name. Now name inside the function is now technically a variable. So yeah, we greeted Sabrina. Now let's greet other people. Hello, I mean greet Zach. Let's also greet some random person. You're getting the point, yeah? Yeah, as you can see, we reused this single line with 3 different names. You see how efficient is it? This isn't my current point, either ways. Now parameters and arguments, for real. So let's say you want to calculate something. Define at x and y. Now, we're gonna also use the return function. So return x plus y. Now first off, do you know what is the return function? The return function turns this function into a variable. Except you pass the values onto the variable, and then it returns what the variable is supposed to mean with are you, okay, let me find a better way to say it. So basically, print at 69 and 420. Don't ask me why, either ways. So apparently right here, add is basically like a way to say, hey, I'm a variable now, and my value is 69 plus 420, since inside the function we add x plus y, and in this case, x and y are 69 and 420. If we try to run it, it will give us the value of it. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. I think you got the point. Yeah, so this is the return statement. So next up, onto local and global variables. Now, instead of x and y, let's only keep x. Y equals 420. As you can see, this is a local variable. It can only be used inside the function. Let's say print y. As you can see, right here in the problems, y is not defined since it's defined inside the function, and we can use it inside the function. If we try to run it, as you can see, we get an error since y is not defined. How can we fix it? We also define y outside the function, so y equals, I don't know, some random number. Either ways, see? This is the difference between global and local variables. For more practice, check out Google Classroom. And on to the final part, built-in functions. Now, a built-in function is already defined in Python. We just call it. So for example, like the min function, or the max function, or the absolute value function, etc. Now let's try. Now there are also modules, like the math module, which is one of the most famous modules in Python. Import math. Now there are functions inside of it. For example, math.py is a function, math.floor is a function, etc. Math.square root is a function, math.ceil is a function. So yeah, the possibilities are endless. That was an example. So yeah, I guess this is it. Yeah, indeed it is. So yeah, if you have any questions, make sure to ask me. I don't care. And bye.